I'm Sophia from SpikeCounter.com with your 2014 USA Volleyball recap. The season started in China with back-to-back FIVB events. The first Open was in Fuzhou, and Carrie Walsh and April Ross got us going with a bang. That's right, the gold medal, right out of the gate. There was no podium for the U.S. men, but Phil and Rosie made it to the second round of the playoffs. The second tournament was the first Grand Slam, and well, Team USA didn't podium in either gender. Phil and Rosie made it to the quarterfinals this time, along with Casey Patterson and Jake Gibb, and Carrie and April made it to the quarters also. The FIVB then staged an Open halfway around the world in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. A lot of folks sat this one out, and again, no medals, but Theo Bruner and Todd Rogers made the quarters, as did Heather Hughes and Crystal Engel. Then came the Prague Open in the Czech Republic. It was a single-gender women's event, and only Engel and Hughes played, missing the main draw by the slimmest of margins. The last Open of the FIVB was in Anapa, Russia. Will Montgomery and Stafford Slip traveled there for the USA men, and Caitlin Ledoux and Irene Hester represented the USA women. Both teams made it to round 2 of the playoffs. At this point, the AVP season had started in St. Petersburg, Florida. On the women's side, Carrie and April beat Lauren Fendrick and Brooke Sweat, which turned out to be a foreshadowing of things to come. In the men's bracket, John Mayer and Brad Keenan beat Casey and Jake for the title. April and Brad's victories gave a new positive meaning to the volleyball phrase, hubby wife. Next, we're back to Russia for the Moscow Grand Slam. Carrie and April won gold, woohoo! And Phil and Rosie took home the bronze. Berlin came the following weekend, and what a weekend it was. John Hyden, who's like my dad's age, and Tri Bourne beat Ryan Doherty and Nick Lucena in the first and only All-American final of the year. It was gold for Tri and Johnny H-Bomb, but silver for Avatar and the Greyhound. Carrie and April made the quarterfinals, but couldn't crack the semis. The very next weekend was Stavanger, Norway, and there were swords on the line. Giant steel sword trophies, that is. Phil and Rosie took gold for the men, and Carrie and April won it all for the women. A USA sweep of gold medals. Then it was back to the US of A for the Milwaukee AVP, where Hyden and Bourne upset Phil and Rosie in the men's final, and Carrie and April fought off an upset-minded Lauren and Brooke in the women's final. No rest for the weary, and it was off to Stade, Switzerland for another FIVB Grand Slam. Phil and Rosie made it back-to-back gold by winning the men's bracket, but no such luck on the women's side. Whitney Pavlik and Jen Fatma joined Carrie and April in round 2 of the playoffs, but neither made it to the quarters. Could Phil and Rosie make it 3 golds in a row in The Hague? Almost. The top-seeded American duo nabbed a silver in the Netherlands, and once again, the U.S. women couldn't advance to the quarterfinals. The Dog and Pony Show joined Carrie and April, this time in round 2, but that was it. And then things got crazy fun. Team USA came back to American soil to play the A6 World Series of Beach Volleyball, the only FIVB event here in the States. And American teams rose to the occasion. Carrie and April surfed to the top of the podium on the women's side, and Phil and Rosie won gold for the men, their 4th consecutive medal. Also, Todd Rogers and Theo Bruner thrilled the Long Beach fans with a bronze medal finish. There was a bit of a Long Beach hangover for Team USA as the teams headed to Klagenfurt, Austria. John and Tri made the quarters, and Carrie and April got to round 2. The AVP brought everybody back to Utah for the Salt Lake City Open. Hometown boys Jake and Casey made an impossible comeback to edge out Ryan and Nick for the title. Meanwhile, Carrie and April took down Lauren and Brooke again in the battle of which team could wear the most kinesio tape. Fortunately for the weary road warriors, the next tourney was the Manhattan Beach Open, the granddaddy of them all. Carrie and April won the ladies' title over Brooke and Lauren, again, while Phil and Rosie won the gentlemen's over Theo and Todd. It was April's first plaque on the pier, and Carrie's 7th. Phil and Rosie had won it before, but this marked their first time winning as a team. So then it was off to Poland for the Grand Slam in Stare Jablonki. Gibb and Patterson took home bronze for the USA, and Carrie and April just stayed home. Summer Ross and Emily Day made it the furthest of the Americans, but couldn't quite get it to round 2 of the playoffs. Then it was the 3 AVP events in a row. In Cincinnati, Carrie and April made it 5 in a row by beating, you guessed it, Lauren and Brooke. Meanwhile, Casey and Jake took down Avatar and the Greyhound again. Boom! From Ohio, the players traveled to New Jersey for the Atlantic City Open. This time, it was a repeat final for the men, with Casey and Jake beating Ryan and Nick. And though Carrie and April had new opponents in Emily Day and Summer Ross, the result was the same, a 6th AVP title for the top seeds. The final stop of the AVP tour was in this little girl's backyard. Surf City, USA, Huntington Beach, California. I was there in VIP. Thanks, Dustin Avall, to see Carrie and April make a perfect sweep of the domestic season, 7 for 7. Despite my dad making a giant cardboard head of Whitney Pavlik, she and her partner Heather Hughes couldn't knock off Carrie and April in the final. On the men's side, Gibbon Patterson won their 4th AVP, edging out John Hyde and Chyborn in an absolute blockfest. There was one final tournament of this summer on the FIVB in Sao Paulo, Brazil, but for the American team, maybe there shouldn't have been. Carrie and April got bounced in the quarters, which hopefully leaves them hungry to train hard for the off-season. Casey, Jake, John, and Tri all made the second round of the playoffs, but no further. In late-season partner switcheroo, Theo Brunner teamed up with John Mayer, and the new pair also made it to round 2 of the playoffs. Congrats also to all the winners of the NVL and EVP tours. Lima and Sawala dominated the NVL for women with wins in Dallas, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Hermosa, with Niles and Studinsky winning in Milwaukee. For the men's, Ben Stockton Schachter won Dallas and Atlanta. Henderson and Martin won the Midwest Championships, and Playcheck and Rester won both the Milwaukee and Hermosa Beach events. And that's it for the 2014 beach season. Thanks for watching, and make sure you follow the 2015 season on spiketown.com.